need more nano influencers who are, happy customers to come forward and actually, influence other people to buy the vehicle or use the vehicle. Do you think that will help? Anand, do you have an opinion on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it goes to word of mouth. And it's very important to have first impression, the right impression, what Sohinder is saying when he's talking about in those small groups and in one spreads out, there is a good people, so right, it works. Let's see, first, because you're making a change which we have not done in the last year. People are used to certain how we go about switching. And it's not simply it also has type to it. It's when you integrate it's very important.
Sure. To have a point on this issue, it's not nano customers, it is the ecosystem which has to support this. See, there is a supplier on one end and the customer on the other end. And obviously OEM is in between and financiers and everything. The ecosystem has to be happy. If their chain breaks, then something breaks in the way. I'll give you an example. You were talking to me on the finance. I met one finance company just because they are known to me from the previous industry. Normal NPA for that finance company, non-performing assets, as a ratio is approximately 3%. 3%. In a diesel industry or a petrol industry, his NPA for EV portfolio is 26%. If that is the problem he's facing, why will he finance an EV vehicle? And not because of anything else, just because he says the vehicle breaks down and the customers are defaulting. So that is the point I was coming. If there are going to be these kind of elements on the way, they will actually spread the word of mouth negative. Customer is only one part of the world.
But do you think then we need different financiers who are not financing
No, it's not, again, it's not, same finance company will exist. Somebody has to handhold, which is a job from supply chain, because sometimes they may not have a control, the components are being imported, possibly. Or the battery cells are coming from A, you are trying to make a battery because you're rushing. And therefore, in order to meet that demand, and with too many OEMs in the system, I keep repeating this, this is the industry, he is very much from the industry. It was a 5 or 6 player industry for two-wheelers. Yeah. Today you have more than 50, 60, 70, I lost count after some time. How many? Now these small players, good to have that aggression, but question is, are they having enough cash and spend to ensure the quality of the vehicle which is being put on the road deserves that particular attention? They may not have cash. Right. They're just trying to get, this will create a bad, and I'm feeling this will actually be detrimental to the interest of the interested people. Don't spend in time and money on making, see, you're telling a customer after some time, vehicle is not good, something caught fire. Now, this is not good for the industry.
Sure. Uday, I'm going to come to you. One of the biggest challenges for the EV adoption has been the EV charging infrastructure that needs to be laid out in every nook and corner of the country for people to, nobody is going to travel far to just get a charging done. So how can that be addressed? What sort of needs to happen for the charging infrastructure to become more rapidly widespread? And do you think small business owners in this country can play a big role in helping that charging infrastructure to get fixed? I see a lot of them outside who are showing these really small setups in which charging can be done. So how do we address it?
First of all, thank you for inviting me here today, and obviously some great speeches by Nitin ji and obviously Sohinder ji. One thing I want to start with is that, which I loved about this, I just came to hear Nitin ji's, that he said, which I firmly believe and we at OSM have continually believed. People are saying, and he says, electric is the future. I think electric is the present. I'm of the belief that, you build Rome, they will come. I think that, yes, the startup culture, whether they are 60 or 70, I think that's great. Let the best men, women who produce will survive. This is a big dollar game. And I think the points that Nitin ji and Sohinder ji have raised is true. But I think with this 60, 70, maybe 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 players will be there. But let me come back to the question of charging. I think that there has to be a continuous ecosystem building of charging systems. Now, whether it is fixed batteries or fast charging or swap. I mean, Sun is doing a lot of great work, and we work with them. I know Sohinder is working with them on the two-wheelers. I think that those swapping stations, but in the fast charging, we have to, whether it is the smaller ones or the bigger ones, we are opening dealerships. We're up to 80, 85 dealerships right now, which will be about 100 by March end, and then maybe 500 next. We want to make sure that every dealership has charging. And then there are people outside that build this charging infrastructure, whether it is Sun or whether it is fast charging with other people or whoever it is. I think the building of the ecosystem and the charging, and whoever wants to be part of this, whether it's the service, and people are talking about quality, I completely believe in that, and service, and service. I think the charging infrastructure will be built, bring the vehicles, bring the charging system, work together. There are no competitors. This is an alliance, and I think we all need to work in an alliance. And again, out of the 60, 70, whoever survives, they'll be stronger. It's the survival of the fittest. That's how it all works. So I think, for me, the competition is good. It makes all of us work harder. The people that will provide quality, the people that will provide longevity, efficiency, and the other part is making sure that the backward supply chain, supply is what's important. I also believe I've been a commodity, I was a commodity trader for 35 years. Oil prices are at 140. But people forget, sir, that about a year ago, prices were negative, right? So obviously, this is cyclical. I believe that battery prices will also go down over a period of time. So commodities are cyclical. But coming back to you on charging, it's extremely important that whoever wants to come into this ecosystem, we invite them, we support them, no matter how big or small. And I think, if a small company develops, a great product, they'll get the funding. This is what has changed. Anybody, any man or woman who has a good idea and has a good product, does quality, can raise funding. And that is the change. So, I mean, people can say, we'll have you for lunch, but, some people might have you for breakfast. There's a lot of talk here going on. But I think what is important is aggressiveness is important in my belief. And I will say the future will bring new players, which we welcome.
Jyoti, you have a...
If I may come in from there,
Yeah. Go on.
Thank you. Just to add to your question, you can as more time business owners, shopkeepers, and can do in this thing. I think there's a very huge potential out there. Hundreds and thousands of charging points are required when we get to this stage, right? And we all back this will succeed.
Sure.
And I don't think we can make any single company, like company, depend on these can do it on their own. And I think the way these charging stations are very economic, and we can each franchise when anything can be done, and that is the only way they can be actually moving forward anyway. And that's what the way it forwards.
Yeah, totally.
I agree with what Uday has said here actually. So we actually deal with that sector, and we have kind of onboarded about 10,000 of these small kirana shops, which are a part of the ecosystem and a part of the solution. They use basically our product to dispense power, which they already have at commercial tariffs or whatever tariffs they want to basically get the power at. And also adding to that, we would be like these kirana stores or the small business owners would be a part of the solution we would be providing, and anyone else is providing to whether to charge the vehicles or to swap the basically batteries. Because I think there are millions of these smaller kirana stores around, and in the next coming years, I think we would need millions of charging points. And what we have tested out is that they were great, essentially, in terms of solving the range anxiety, because a lot of people actually, when they go out of their houses, they go to these kirana stores, they go to these small restaurants, small chaiwalas, and basically stay there for some time. And if they're able to basically top up a charge, then nothing like it. And
on average, how much can a kirana wala make by having this infrastructure?
So, like, I will give you some anecdotal evidences compared to where basically the entire ecosystem is heading. We have had instances where people are earning 2,000-3,000 rupees a month, essentially. by installing one charger. And this is, by the way, slow chargers which are retailing for 3,000 rupees. So you break even in 1 month. They are occupied a lot of times essentially. So it depends on the location also right now if you look at it. But as and when the EV adoption picks up, I think the utilization will also go up very high. In fact, we are seeing some things in the other direction also, where we have installed charging points in the apartments, and now the apartments EV adoption has gone up in the last 6 months since we have operated there. There were people who were reluctant to buy EVs because they were always skeptical, where will I charge, where will I charge? And over the last 2-3 months, we have seen the adoption has gone up from 1% or 2% to I think 5 or 7% in some apartments. So it works the other way around also.
So the closer the charging, the better the adoption.
Yes.
That's great. So I'll, Anand, Mr. Nitin, Mr. Gill, this is to you. I mean, now you just mentioned that government subsidies will not remain forever, and they should not, because it's a heavy sort of investment from their exchequer. So what do you think government can radically change in order for, EV adoption to happen? I mean, and I mean, our government is known to be radical. So what do you think they can do more disruptively to bring more EVs on the road?
See, EVs will happen, it's only a question of time, whether they happen in 5 years, 10 years or 50 years, but we have to make it happen in 5 years in a significant way. From that point of view, perhaps everybody has to run the race, and government has a role to play in that, if they want to really taper off subsidies in a big way in 4 to 5 years' time. So it has to be replaced by something else. One of the things I keep saying is, if government says ये गाड़ी देश के लिए अच्छी है, जेब के लिए अच्छी है, तो सबको सुनाई देता है. If I say it's a marketing. So I've been pushing government to create a budget of a massive nature, more than LEDs or solar, to start talking like Arvind Kejriwal talked in Delhi, all country, all against, sab jagah par, government's choice. We have made it cheaper for you by 40%. The worth of this vehicle is X, but you are getting at 60% of that. So that's very convincing. So that is one thing. So awareness, which we are doing, very minuscule, government to do in a much bigger way and lend that help. Second is, I keep sort of pushing, but shy of that, China model of mandating. Still there is a time for mandating, there is a place for mandating in small spheres here and there, not countrywide. You can't push guys to buy, but in some places, businesses, why should they pollute? When there are vehicles available, when there are services available, when government is pitching in, why should business be allowed to pollute in deliveries, in services, where there are massive amount of second-hand, 10 years old, 15 years old vehicles being deployed, and you are turning a blind eye. Ye mera kaam nahi hai. I'm not into this business. I'm Amazon. So they are saying, but still the same fence-sitting attitude of proof of concept, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. By the time subsidies will go away, oh, now it's very difficult to adopt. They should be pushed. Businesses should be pushed to tip change with some firm targets. 25% every year, 40%, 30%, 70% in 4 years' time, mandating. Third, little bit, even for B2C, in some cities, high time, in the crowded places, polluted places, only EV zones for some time during the day. These are catalysts, even if it is 2 hours a day. It changes a lot of mindsets. Pata nahi, if I have to go there, I will have a problem. Why not buy an electric? So small triggers here and there. So like the list of 7, 8, 9 things that government can still do, but top of the mind is this, awareness, mandating, and city-wise specific catalyzing some sort of a conversion by force to a B2C customer also.
Sure.